When you think of leaving your legacy, why do we often think of that as something in the past? What if we reframed our perspective of a legacy as something that we are currently writing, weaving, creating? Recently, I've been thinking a lot about our unique signature on the universe, which is this life we exist from our birth date until the date that we depart from this realm. There's a dash, and the dash is full of all the highs, the lows, the peaks, the valleys. And recently I've been giving a lot of thought into this idea of what even is a legacy, and what is the legacy I want to leave behind. We all, I'm sure, can recall family members, loved ones, friends, and the reasons why we love them. If we had to make a list, maybe it's the way they laugh, the energy they bring into a room, their talents, gifts, their ability to captivate, to see the beauty in the mundane, to tell a wicked funny story, to have an amazing adventure with. These are the things we remember about people. We live in a shell of a society that masks us in the superficialities. We are convinced that the material things are what we are going to be remembered for and by having the latest iPhone, the most expensive watch, the trendiest style, the most money in the bank account. But the legacy that I have been reflecting on is one that cannot be touched, seen, but rather felt. And I'm thinking a lot about, in Western society, this idea of intellectualizing everything as opposed to moving with the gut feeling. We have this tendency to overanalyze, and we want to prescribe reason and rationale onto everything, but sometimes just letting yourself feel can be the highest form of medicine possible. I was recently at a class, and the teacher had brought up this idea of the leap year, which we have just celebrated by the end of February 29th, which we only get once every 4 years. And this idea that life moves in cycles, and yet we go through a year. Every single year we have an annual restart back to January, but every 4 years we have this leap. And so the call from this leap is, what is life asking you to bound towards, to bound away from? What are the old paradigms and stories and limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck, and where can you break free? Where can you detach, remove, walk away, turn away, close the door, open a new door? And I'm thinking a lot about this idea of the leap and my legacy, and what does that mean as an artist, a creator, somebody who is trying to get somewhere. We're all here for such a limited stint. And so what is your calling? Is that something that you've been putting off for a while? Is that something that you've been telling yourself you can't do for XYZ reason? What are the things that are keeping you stuck, and why? Why are they keeping you stuck? How can you get unstuck? And where can we really soften into our nature? Our truest self doesn't rely on the clock, external validation, any forms of compensation, measurement, control, fear, all of these low frequency vibrations. And instead, can we turn inward into a place of knowing? Because we are all knowing. whether or not we give ourselves the credit for it. And so as I reflect on this idea of the legacy, I think to myself, how do I want to be remembered? And this idea of compassion, of service to others, and ultimately service to self as well, following my innermost desires, chasing the paths that have been laid out, predetermined by fate, by the universe, and really just placing my trust into the way things are meant to fall instead of trying to make them fall into the way that they should. Because there is so much of our life that has been conditioned, and we're molded, and we're compacted, and we're put into these roles. And I recently heard somewhere this idea that we are actors. In our day-to-day lives, we are actors. We put on the face. I'm doing it right now for you. I'm explaining this idea of acting, but I'm also fulfilling a role. I'm speaking as someone with ideas to share and to be received, but what if we just break out of that idea of performance and embrace the authenticity that comes with that? And maybe that means letting go of behaviors that have kept you feeling safe and in control for so long. I know for me, I have a tendency to grip onto certain ways of operating that are very limiting and isolating and siloing. And what would it mean to open myself back up again? To make plans with that friend, to reach out to them, to do something that means checking in instead of checking out. And so I encourage you to think about, what are you leaping towards this leap year? What is that goal? What is that intention? Where does it stem from? And what is the legacy you want to leave behind? Because when you're gone, you can't write your legacy. You're writing it right now. Your everyday choices are constituting your legacy and what you want to achieve, fulfill, create. It all starts with you. And if you're not changing, you are choosing. So what are you waking up and choosing? What is the legacy you are signing into the canvas of the universe? I encourage you to move forward with this and let it sit and really lean into that and listen, because you know more than you think. And sometimes the silence is necessary, and sometimes not knowing is necessary in order to figure out where you need to go next. It's okay to not know. It's okay to stumble, to feel lost. It's okay to feel under pressure, under stress and strain. Let it out. Don't bury it deeper. And see what surfaces for you. In this process of constant soul evolution, I wish you peace and self-discovery.